Well, it was good to get uh, to a win. Start the season with a win. I guess was impressed with kind of how we handled a little bit of a unique situation, just with the late start time, um, the weather delay. Just all the kind of stuff, having to sit around really on a Friday, which is a little bit more difficult normally than waiting that long on a Saturday, just because of there wasn't any college football or anything on to watch. So just impressed with the maturity and the way those guys handled that situation. Um, Obviously, didn't get off to a great start, but really felt like our guys handled that part of it well. I think coming out of fall camp, that was the one thing that I had talked about was just, I was a little bit unsure how this group would handle adversity and handle having to deal with some tough situations. And so we tried to do everything we could to kind of prepare them for those things and just make sure that we had a good mindset. And to their credit, they handled it incredibly well. Like I said, we were up 7-6 at halftime, and I don't think anybody really felt great about the way we had played, but nobody blinked in the locker room. Nobody panicked. We just sat in there and regrouped a little bit and came out and got off to a better start in the second half and got settled in and certainly played better, in the second half. And I think that's the way we anticipated playing. Offensively, the first half, we just did some uncharacteristic things. We haven't really practiced that well in fall camp. We missed some throws. We ran the wrong route. We were just not in sync. I was surprised just because that had not been something that I had seen from this team leading up to that performance. So I think there was probably some pregame jitters, maybe mixed in with a little bit of, just having to do it for the first time. So once everybody got settled in, I thought we played better in the second half on offense, and was really impressed overall, really for all four quarters, how we played defensively. Thought we played really hard. Thought we ran to the ball well. Thought we tackled really well, particularly for the first game. So it was a good starting point, and a lot of things we can improve on and work on from here. Obviously, Darius's punt return for a touchdown was a big part of the game. I think it settled everybody in a little bit, and but overall, it was a good performance. Hard to win on the road, hard to win, particularly against a Power 5 team on the road, and with a late start and a rain delay and altitude and all the stuff that people can kind of get sidetracked on, that didn't seem to bother us too bad. So was impressed with the way, again, our guys handled it. Yeah, so Chandler won't play this week. And then I think after that it'll kind of be week to week. He's got a sprained knee, not severely sprained, but it's one of those deals. We'll immobilize him for a couple of days is my guess, and then try to get out any kind of swelling or anything he's got that way, and then it'll be basically strengthening and kind of getting back to normal. So won't play this week, and fortunately we have an open week next week, and we'll kind of reevaluate it and see where we are.
What about Thomas Armstrong?
Will not play the rest of the year, tore his ACL. So disappointing for Thomas. Just kind of one of those strange one, ran down on a kickoff and barely got bumped and just landed funny, and won't have him for the year. So I hate that for Thomas. And he had a great fall camp and was somebody that we were really excited about. And a little concerned. That's a position where we don't have a lot of depth. So we're going to need to figure some things out.
From a conditioning standpoint, can you get a sense as to? I know you thought the off season went well.
Yeah.
Camp, but where is it?
Yeah, I think good. I think we played 48 snaps of defense in the first half, and there was one series where I thought our guys looked a little winded, but then the rest of the game I never saw it. And again, that's at altitude, and so I think we're in good physical shape. I really do believe that our body weights are good. We haven't lost weight. We're going to have some of our young players will continue to add weight as we progress along, and guys will get bigger and add bulk, like I said, as the season goes, which is atypical. But I feel like we're in a good spot physically. You just hate to have any kind of an injury like that, especially an injury that was really almost a non-contact injury. It was basically got shoved a little bit and landed funny. So, you just see that.
Coach, is it Max's job this week, or do you guys evaluate?
Yeah, we'll always evaluate. I mean, my guess is it will be, but we'll see. We'll see how the week goes, and then the same thing kind of at every position, really. We'll just see who practices the best, and then that'll be the guy that starts. But I mean, if you're asking me what I think Max will probably start. But I would imagine Sam will play. We felt like, especially with Chandler getting hurt the other night, that we needed to play Sam. Get him some reps in that game just in case something happened to Max, and so that way of thinking will continue as we move along. You just want to make sure that you have some experience at that position and somebody that's has played in some meaningful snaps. And so we'll see how practice goes this week, but that's my guess.
So when you play as many guys as you did, is it just getting their feet wet, getting them situated, and then time will go more toward the ones?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think we'll play a lot of guys. I mean, I think that's our intent, is to play as many guys as we think can help us win. You know what I mean? I think that's the big thing, is if you can play, 3 players at a position, and instead of one guy playing, 30 snaps, one guy playing 90 snaps, you have 3 play 30. That's a significant difference, just in terms of how fresh they are. The likelihood of them not getting injured is significant. Typically when you look at injuries, they usually happen because worn down or late in the game, that type of thing. And so our thing's always been, look, let's play as many guys as we think can help us, and it's going to help us stay healthy. It's going to help us stay fresh, and hopefully, when the guys get in, they realize, okay, look, I may only get 20 snaps. I'm going to go as hard as I can all 20 snaps. And I think it allows your guys to play at a higher level.
With all those guys playing, obviously it helps you in the locker room, it helps get you above the line, so to speak, to play.
Yeah.
Do you think it helps you recruiting as well?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I think, we're going to have a number of freshmen that are going to play significant roles on our team this year. And I think it allows you to sit down and say, okay, look, as you're recruiting somebody, just sit them down and say, look, the facts are the facts. We had, 15 true freshmen play last year, or whatever the number is. And so I think that helps, convince young people that they're going to have an opportunity to play. And in today's college football landscape, as I said earlier, I mean, you got to play everybody, especially if you think they can help you. And, that freshman class is really good. I mean, there's a lot of good football players in that group. A lot of guys that are going to help us win a lot of football games, and, for a number of years. And so it's a great way to get them on the field, whether it's on special teams or whether it's on offense or defense. Getting those guys experience makes a huge difference. And it's like anything else, it's motivating. Those guys can see, okay, look, I got a chance to play, and they practice at a higher level, and it just helps your overall morale, as you said earlier. But I just have always believed, heck, if you're good enough to help somebody win, we're crazy not to figure out a role for you.
You had an ongoing cordial conversation with the headlines during the game. Was that about any of the rule change?
I'm trying to remember it. No, we were talking. There was a couple different things that we were talking about. I don't remember what it was specifically, but there were 2 or 3 different questions that I had, that we had talked about, and that crew actually were some Pac-12 officials that I knew. And so one of them was, I was trying to kind of figure out exactly what the call was on the pass interference, when we got the interception. Just try to get an explanation for that, because the one I got at the beginning, I don't think was the right one. Somehow the got lost in translation a little bit. So once I had a chance to visit with him a little bit, then it made sense. And then a couple other times it was just about certain things that were going on in the game, but it was nothing specific.
Coach, what team said special teams, especially in the first half, like getting in the league?
Yeah. I think, you look at college football week 1, all you got to look at the games, that were played this weekend. You look at East Carolina, missed an extra point and a game-winning field goal against NC State. You look at, obviously, last night, LSU with the blocked field goal, the blocked extra point, and the 2 fumbled punts. Um, you know, Special teams early in the season, there's always big plays that kind of make or break games, the first couple of weeks. And they do always, but they're magnified in week 1, 2, and 3, really. So I think for us, having Darius make that play, I thought was a big confidence boost for us. I think Colorado came out and they were playing really hard, really fast. They looked like they were playing at a really high level. And you got to give them credit for doing that. I thought they were prepared. They got us on our heels a little bit defensively because I don't know that we knew exactly what we were going to see. And so we were kind of adjusting as the game went along. I thought Coach Gillespie and his staff did a really good job of doing that. But, I felt like at that point we were probably on our heels a little bit. And then Darius makes a big play. And I think it changed our mindset to a degree. And I think, like anything else, we felt like going into the ball game we might have a speed advantage, and I think that reinforced that for us. And where we understood, hey, look, we got some guys that can make some plays, and let's just do a good job of getting them the ball and creating some space for them and letting them do their thing. And so I thought that was obviously a big play. Thought we blocked it incredibly well. Thought Chase Curtis and Spivey both made really, really good plays there, smart plays, where they could have blocked somebody in the back and elected to screen. And again, showed some maturity. We showed a clip Thursday night at the hotel to our entire team about crackback blocking and in that play in particular on a punt return. And I think those guys obviously paid attention, and it was exactly what we showed. We had 2 clips from previous years, 2 Alabama games actually, where they blocked behind the play and got a 15-yard penalty for a blindside block, and then an example of screening. And both the guys did the example of screening and resulted in a big play for us.
Looking ahead now to Charleston State, what do you want this team to focus on this week and build on?
Really same thing as last week. I mean, I think, our focus is always kind of on our performance and ourselves. It won't change really no matter who we play. It's never going to be about our opponent. It's always going to be about us and trying to play to our standard, regardless of who it is. We talked a lot about execution last week. And again, if you look at the second half, we scored every possession except the one that we took a knee on to end the game. And really the only difference in the first half and the second half was execution and us doing our job. And so I think that's the big thing for us is we've got to do a better job of doing that early in the ball game. Got to start faster. Our offense, when we get into a rhythm, is always pretty good. I think the thing that we have to do is figure out how to get that first down. And then, typically once we do that, then it seems like we get settled in and get into a good rhythm and get rolling. So the challenge this week is just going to be go out, execute, move the ball. We had 7 penalties, which is too many. We've got to cut our penalties down. Had 1 on special teams, and we got to eliminate that. And, just play a little bit cleaner than we did last week. I mean, I was happy we didn't turn the ball over. We had a bunch of opportunities defensively to get turnovers. We had our hands on about half a dozen balls. We got the 1 turnover, but got a penalty on the interception. So we just got to clean up some things, but I thought our effort was good. It was what you want. Again, I thought our mentality was good. I thought the guys was pleased overall.
Coach, do you have a status on Bud Clark?
Yeah, I think Bud's getting closer. I'm hopeful he'll be back at it this week. I'll know a little bit later in the week.
What do you think of Kamara and the way he came in?
I thought he played, really well. Thought he played about as well as anybody Friday night. Just thought he was active, thought he tackled well, made good decisions, made a couple of mistakes here and there, got out of position once or twice. But he can run. He's athletic. He plays very hard, and he's physical. He's a great tackler. So I thought he really played well.
3 catches for Quentin Johnston in game 1. Is there a concerted effort to get him the ball?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's like anything. Every game's different. We had the one fade we threw to him early that he caught it out of bounds. I think we've got to do a better job of getting him the ball and kind of getting him going. But the good thing is we've got a number of players we feel the same way about. We went into the game saying we got to do the same thing with Savion, and certainly got to do it with Tay and Darius, and and Spivey and that group as well. So, I think we got enough good players, and we have to figure out how to get guys opportunities. But Quentin in particular, I think we've got to get him going early if we can.
What worries you about Charlton?
Well, I think just I think the normal thing that young people do sometimes just overlook teams occasionally, and that's going to be the big thing for us is just learning how to not do that. I mean, we're going to obviously point out example after example of FCS teams beating traditional powers and that type of thing, and you don't have to look too far around college football. I mean, it's easy to find those examples. So you just want to make sure that the guys understand that and that they're worried about themselves. And I think that's our focus, and it's always going to be our focus is to control what we can control, and that's how hard we play and how well we do our job. And as I said earlier, it doesn't matter if it's Tarleton or Alabama or whoever it is. And the good thing is we're going to put the Tarleton film on, and they're going to see good players. And I think that's the thing that is different. There's sometimes you play an opponent and you put the film on and they go, ooh, and that's not going to be the case. I mean, Tarleton's got good football players. A lot of guys. I mean, obviously a heavily recruited and regarded quarterbacks and big receivers that can make contested plays. A group up front on both sides of the ball that's got size and strength, and then a bunch of guys on the back end that can run. So, that's the good thing. They're gonna be able to see on film that this is a very good football team and guys that can run, and they're gonna look at the success the program's had and and prepare themselves. And again, you would hope that they would do that regardless of who your opponent is. But it certainly helps when the film, when they can identify that there are good players on this team.
Tyrone Dykes is the DC guy that we've seen before as a player and a coach. Who did he devise the scheme under? He's not a Julie.
No, I don't think so. I think they might have been together at one point way back when, but it's a little bit different than Jolie's stuff. He's more of a true 3-4, where Jolie's more kind of a 3-3 stack. A little more traditional on the back end. Tarleton is in terms of what they play. So enough stuff to keep you off balance. And when you play an odd like they do, there's always you have to protect your edges as you go into the game from a protection standpoint and also a run game standpoint, because you're going to see a lot of edge pressure and you got to be solid up front. When you play a team like this, because that's why a lot of people get into the odd stuff is just it allows you to do so many different things with the blitz game. And so they'll have a great blitz package, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll bring a lot of pressure. And so it's going to be a big challenge for our offensive line this week, identifying the front, communicating and making sure that, we get the blitzes and the rushes and everything blocked the right way. And should be a challenging game also for, our running backs and some of the things that they have from a blocking standpoint. And also really our quarterbacks just recognize the things and being able to get rid of the ball.
Anything else for Coach?
Just a question on the quarterback. I see he went to Kentucky. What coming from the SEC what type of challenge?
Yeah, he's a big, strong guy with a big arm, and you can see why, he was recruited as an SEC quarterback. Can make the throws. Have just made some really impressive throws last week in the game. I mean, really throws a great deep ball. I thought he and the receivers were on the same page with, back shoulder throws and fade throws. And they have two big bodies out there at wide receiver that can run. And so you can tell that those guys are really operating at a really high level. It looked to me like ahead of schedule in terms of week one, where you would expect them to be in terms of going up and the quarterback giving receivers opportunities to make plays and the receivers making them. So they did that pretty consistently last week, and that'll be a big challenge for us. And when you have a quarterback that can do that, throw the fade that well, throw the stop route, throw the back shoulder fade, all the stuff that he did last week, I mean, it can be very challenging. Okay, thank you guys.